Good evening and welcome to tonight's exciting webinar for the new Club Development Workshop Series, Getting Started Steps 1, 2, and 3. If you were here last week with us, you know that our vice presidents are very supportive of what the Global Action Team is doing and what we're doing with the North American Membership Initiative. This webinar is put on by the Global Action Team and for CA1 and CA2. And I know that we have Lions that join us from around the world, and you're welcome. At times, there may be some ideas or thoughts that are shared that are more cultural to North America. And if so, use those parts of the webinar that you can use, and those that don't fit in your particular part of the world, then discard it and keep serving like we've never served before. Tonight's webinar is being recorded and will be shared with those who have registered for our webinar. Everyone's mic has been muted, and so those panelists and organizers, when it's time to speak, we will unmute you so that you can have your part in the program. And then if you have a question, there's a questions panel, and go ahead and type your question there. Those will be answered throughout the evening, and some will be saved to answer by the panel and the panelists at the end of our program. Also, if you'd like to raise your hand for a live question toward the end of the webinar, we should have time for that as well. Speaking of outstanding vice presidents who are very supportive of everything that we're doing, we have Vice President Doug Alexander, who was in the room. Staff, will you unmute Vice President Doug, and will you share your thoughts on the importance of starting clubs in our great association, Vice President? Vice President Doug? Not hearing anything from Vice President Doug and seeing that he is online, we'll move to our second Vice President, Vice President Brian Sheehan, for some opening comments, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
We hear Vice President Doug.
Yes.
If you'll share some thoughts, and then we'll let Vice President Brian follow you up with some thoughts.
Well, thank you, Past Director Jerome, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure for us to be with you this evening, and for this important aspect of our association, and that is starting new clubs. With new clubs, gives us more Lions to provide more service that is certainly needed around the world. With new club and new members brings new ideas. So it's very important that we do all that we can to grow our association. As you know, we've been stuck at that 1.4 million Lions for so long. And by starting new clubs, that's a great way to help us to move that number to 1.5 or 1.6 million Lions and give more people an opportunity to be a part of this great association. So I look forward to listening and hearing all of the great ideas and sharing information with Lions all around the world to help us to help our association to continue to grow. And I just have to give a shout out to our amazing staff that we have. I understand that as of today, they are going to start being able to go back into the office. So that's a good thing. You know, this COVID-19 has put a crimp in a lot of things. It's just another challenge that we have, but we can't let that prevent us from doing what we know that we need to do. And that is to continue to reach out and to work. And one of the ways we are reaching out is by using the process that we're using this evening to continue to carry on the business of our great association. So looking forward to this exciting webinar, and hopefully there'll be information shared with everyone that will help us to grow and start new clubs. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Doug. And now Vice President Brian, would you like to share some opening comments with us, please?
There we go.
Brian, you're unmuted.
This is the new club development is a huge part to our success of the North American Membership Initiative. All districts have got to learn to be better at being able to start new clubs up, Jerome. I'm excited to see you all here. There are so many on this seminar. It's just awesome. So let's all learn and get things done together. It's up to all of us to implement in our own districts. So thanks to Jerome, Rob, the presenters and staff, much appreciated.
Thank you so very much, Vice President Brian, and Vice President Patty is always very supportive of what we're doing. She had a previous engagement already on her calendar and is not able to join us this evening, but promises that she'll listen to the recording and she will continue to talk and encourage Lions to serve like they've never served before. This is the second of a 4-part series. Next week on June the 22nd, we will cover steps 4, 5, and 6 of the process. And on the 29th, we will cover the last 4 steps of the process. As my co-host this evening, we have past District Governor Rob Hill, who serves as the Global Action Team Constitutional Area 2 leader, and he will be co-moderating with me this evening. He lives in Merrifield, about 60 miles north of the U.S. border into Canada, and does such a wonderful job of leading our Global Action Team in Canada. Lion Rob, will you share with us your thoughts on why forming clubs is so important?
Thank you very much, Past International Director Jerome. Yes, the need for new clubs has always been about, and we've lost a lot of clubs over the years, so rebuilding, revitalizing communities with Lions clubs in them, making our communities available to the service that the Lions can perform is the most important thing. Strengthening the number of clubs we have out there to provide the much needed service in the communities is most vital.
I fully agree with you. It's that service component that we really need to expand our footprint of service. There's so many communities that have unmet needs that Lions can meet if we will just take our brand, our product, our clubs, our volunteers to those communities. And working together, we can and will make a difference, because where there's a need, there is a Lion. And tonight, we're going to cover the first 3 steps of the new club development process, but we're going to follow up on the rest of those steps. Now, that first step, as we begin to talk tonight, is focused upon determining the areas of opportunity. And once we've done that, we've got to develop a team that's excited about taking our brand to new communities, conduct that site research, promote that new club, and begin to recruit those charter members. We're going to conduct informational sessions. We're going to sell our service to new communities. We're going to conduct organizational meetings. We're going to submit charter applications. We're going to receive the approval for the charter, and we're going to continue to develop that club as it grows from an infant stage to a great community servant. And we sell service and the sizzle of service in more communities than we've ever served before. Wouldn't it be great to start over 200 clubs this year and then maybe 220 next year? Let's begin with a poll so that we'll sort of know our audience tonight. Did you attend the first webinar in this series? It's a simple yes or no, and we'll have about 15 or 20 seconds to answer that question. Did you attend the first webinar in this series?
So there we see the results. We have a pretty good following here, Past International Director Jerome. 77% tell us that they were here last week and must have excited them for them to come back and be with us this week.
Lion, past District Governor Rob, you've done such a great job of explaining things. Would you take and share with us just an overview of the 3 steps that we're going to cover tonight, and then we're going to let our guests delve into the details?
Yes, I'd be pleased to be able to do that. Determining the areas of opportunity consists of looking at communities in your districts, areas that are lacking the Lions clubs there, the size of the population in communities. You want to target communities that have a population that is going to support a fairly good sized Lions club. We need 20 members to start this club, so let's look at populations that will support that. Locations of other Lions clubs. Is the community you're looking at a city of good size? Are there other Lions clubs there? Are there needs in that community that could possibly be met by having another Lions club with a different focus than the focus of the clubs that are there? Current service of the clubs and community organizations is an important view to look at with that. Groups of people not being recruited by the current Lions clubs or the Lions clubs in the areas. Are there specialty groups? Are there immigrants? There's special interest groups in there. Communities with young adults, women, ethnic communities, and other unrepresented groups. You may want to check your district directories to see what communities had Lions clubs at one time and focus on those. That may be a good target spot. Developing your team. Now, this is a hard job to do alone. Think of those that can help you and who would be good at working at a new club development. This is something that it takes a little fortitude to do it. Some people are frightened by being told no. That I don't know that there's a record of anybody, dying from that yet. So make sure that you have good people on your team. The district governor needs to be involved. Vice district governors, the governor, the whole governor team, the guiding Lions, and the most important is the sponsoring club. The sponsoring club is going to provide members to help with doing the new club development workshop, global membership team, zone chairs, and any other cabinet members or club members that have any interest. The conducting the site development research, the community needs assessment is something that really needs to be done ahead of time. Research the community and see what's there. See what other service organizations are available. What service organizations can you partner with when you go into that? What are the demographics in the community? Building relationships in there before you get there. Reach out to the people and see what's happening. And I spoke about the other organizations. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're service organizations. There may be other organizations that are there, like the fire department, first responders, and those types of organizations. So moving forward, we're going to talk about the objectives for this, and understanding the possible areas of opportunity in your community is an area that you need to focus on when you're looking at communities. Exactly what does that community need? What do they need from the Lions Club? Where do they need the help there? Gaining knowledge and developing a team for new club development. This is an excellent opportunity to make arrangements to have a new club development specialist come in. Lions Clubs International is able to provide those team leaders for you at no cost to the districts. And understanding how to conduct site development research. Now, there's lots of help on the NAMI website for anybody that is looking at doing this information. So there are, we talked about the policy guidelines. New Lions clubs are, as a requirement, minimum requirement, 20 members. The new Lions club needs the district governor approval. They want everyone in the district to make sure that the governor has approved that this area where you're going is available. charter fees and certification. Charter fees need to be collected and submitted. We're aware that as of January or July 1st, the new Lions year, until December 31st, those new charter fees are waived. Certification is still necessary. There needs to be a sponsoring club, or can be sponsored by the district or zone. Completed the charter applications by the person on the team that's responsible for that. Your EIN number, and this is U.S. only, so this is your employment number. Club branch, we need 5 members to complete a club branch. They need to elect a president, secretary, and treasurer, and the parent club needs to approve this. There's a liaison between the parent club and the club branch, and this completed application needs to be filed with Lions Clubs International. So,
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was just going to say, moving forward, we'll turn it back to Jerome here.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And tonight we've got 2 new club development consultants with us. They have done a wonderful job of taking and sharing their excitement and their vision for a better tomorrow. And each of them would be a great guest in your district to begin to start a club, to mentor, to share, to coach you through the process. Our first speaker tonight is past District Governor Valerie Clark. Valerie is from Newfoundland, and she has served as the district governor in 16-17, has a full-time job managing a retail establishment there in her community, but she also gives time to go and to help districts form clubs in new communities. She's done a fantastic job, and we're so proud that she's going to share some ideas with us. Now, also from the U.S., our council chair, Nancy Van Alsten from MD2 Texas, another outstanding new club development consultant who has taken and formed clubs in many states across the United States. You'll find her to be very warming, very welcoming, and that you would also love to have her in your district. These 2 ladies are going to share with us tonight. And so before we start, Past District Governor Nancy, would you take, or Council Chair Nancy, forgive me, would you take just a second or 2 and share with us why that you believe that starting clubs is so important for our association?
I'd be happy to. You know, so many of our communities are growing rapidly, and there are so many new community needs that our existing clubs can't meet all of those. So new clubs need to fill in those gaps. There are also lots of communities that simply do not have clubs to provide that support. So new clubs can make a tremendous difference in those communities also.
Thank you so very much. And I'm looking forward to your presentation on step 2. I know that you're going to do a dynamic job for us this evening and excited about that. Past District Governor Valerie, if you would share with us for just a few minutes your philosophy on starting new clubs. And then, since you're the next speaker, go right into step 1, determining areas of opportunity. District Governor Valerie, I think that you're muted.
I'm muted?
No, we got you now. Thank you.
Okay, I'm ecstatic, everyone, to speak tonight and to talk about new club development. Napoleon Hill is one of the famous quotes that I use, and what your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And I'm a firm believer in that. Back in 2016, 2017, our district, for the previous 10 years before that, went from a transitional district of 1,100 down to 876 members. And the year that I became district governor, I said that we need to change. We need to change and we need to do things differently. And I'm all about change and change for the positive and making a difference. So the first thing that I did is got together a group of people that were dynamic, energetic, all fun and ready to move, the movers and the shakers in our district. And I'm in District M3 in Eastern Canada, right out in the Atlantic Ocean. So what we did, the very first thing that we set our sights on was a First Nations club. And we formed the First Nations Conn River Ashwanabe Lions Club. Then we said, let's try a campus club. So we went out and we formed a campus club, the Grenfell University Campus Club. Then we talked about traditional clubs. So we brought in a couple of different traditional clubs. Then we targeted, we had never had a French-speaking club in our district of N3. So we went out and we formed 2 new French-speaking clubs. And right now, the one thing that I wanted to work on, my next step was to work on a cyber club. And I'm just so delighted to say that as of Sunday, we actually have our 20 members and we will be forming our first Canadian Coke Canada Lions Cyber Club. So we talk about basically the importance of new clubs. And if we're going to continue to grow our organization, we have to have more clubs. More clubs brings more members, and more members brings more service and more ideas. So we have to be open, and we got to be open to change. If it's not working, we need to fix it. Step 1, determine the area for a new club. Do a community needs assessment, and it should be done prior to a meeting with the community officials. So the steps: the size of the population. We need to go online and get the data in the area that we're looking at. Are we looking at an area, for example, the size of the population? Are we looking at a rural area in Newfoundland, or are we talking a city like the size of Toronto? So we have to know what we're looking at, what the area is. Local project possibilities. When I go out, I look around and I say, do they have a playground? Is there a recreational facility? Are there any youth organizations? Current service clubs. We look and we find out while we're out, is there a Rotary Club, for example? Is there a Kiwanis Club? Is there a Kinsman Club? What other groups are in that area servicing needs right now? Groups of people not being recruited by Lions clubs. Are there ethnic groups out there? Are there snowmobile clubs? Is it a Rotary Club? Are there rugby clubs? Is it a curling club? Are these different people that we can go out and try to recruit and bring into our Lions family? What is the location of the nearest possible Lions club to us? How far away are we? Are we an hour away? Are we 10 minutes away? We need to make sure that our areas around us are being serviced and that Lions can help the area. Communities with young adults, women, and ethnic groups that are underrepresented. Are we talking a city, a town that would give us the information that we need? Generally, that determines the factors. What challenges or barriers will we face that would prohibit us from a new club forming? Is it being serviced by another club? What is the population? What's the economics of the area? What community leaders would be needed to support the club? We go out, we chat with the town council, we get the mayor involved, the city councilors. I go out and I try to chat with the Chamber of Commerce in the area. We go out, we visit the local businesses in the area, government officials, the RCMP, fire department, all these would make excellent recruits. And the one thing that I found most successful and that I really enjoy is when I go out to a community, the very first thing that I look for is there an actual radio station, a local radio station. Because the best way to get involved and to get the message out there is to actually have a one-on-one interview at a radio station. They help promote it. Then once I'm out in the field and I'm meeting different people and officials in the town, they already know, hey, there's somebody here from Lions, right? So I've already made my introduction and they're just waiting most of the time for me to come in. What benefits can a Lions Club bring to the community? It strengthens our communities through networking. It cultivates friendships and a sense of belonging. It increases socializing. It gives people a place to go to, more friends. It looks great on a resume. Has there been a Lions Club in the community? We need to find out, did we have a Lions Club there before? If so, when did it close? Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. And now I think that I'll pass this to Governor Rob, who's going to kick off our next poll.
Yes, I am, Pastor National Director Joan. For the people that are attending, would you please answer the poll? Do you know a community in your district that could benefit from a Lions Club? I'm sure that that's an easy answer. So we'll take a few seconds here and get some answers. Okay, we can close the poll and see what we.
That's awesome. 83% of those who are here know a community where a Lions Club is needed. 3% do not, and 14% is not sure. But just that 83%, that's nearly 400 communities that have been identified in that one question. It's time for us to take the next step, share those community ideas with our district governor team, and then volunteer to help to start a club there. We're so excited to move into the second step of the process, developing a team. And tonight we have Council Chair Nancy Van Alsten, who is going to share with us her method of developing a team. Lion Nancy.
Thank you. A new club development takes a team effort. Team members should have a passion about being a Lion and committed to the entire club formation process. The organizer's role is to support the new team as much as possible, but not primarily responsible for conducting all of the recruiting efforts. Your team should be ready to be an active participant in the club formation process, and that includes community and business recruiting, informational meeting, and organizational meeting. Now, when you look at that slide, you see 5 lions or groups of lions that should be on the team. And yes, they absolutely should be there. However, I would personally encourage you to invite other interested lions to be sure to come to that first in-person training meeting. I've seen lions become excited with the idea of developing a new club and go on to become very instrumental in that process. All interested lions should be encouraged to attend. Your team and any other interested lion need to participate in the total process from the first training session to the support or mentoring of the club as they begin their service. The classroom training answers their questions, and gives them a picture of the recruiting process. The field training, or the recruiting days, provides the expertise they need in the development of the new club, and it will also help them in future recruitment events, even with rebuilding existing clubs. So each step is very important. Now, to develop your team, there are some sub-teams you need to consider. Building that team is one of the most important parts of this club formation. Each member of the recruitment team should be assigned a role and should be aligned to their comforts and strengths. Everyone's role is to build membership and participate in those efforts. Now, the chart you're looking at is a breakdown of the various teams needed for recruitment. You should plan for a minimum of 4 to 6 people for recruitment, and those sub-teams support the recruiting in the field. Of the 4 sub-teams listed, I want to stress the importance of the lead team and the response team. We all already understand that the field team and the ground team are crucial, since that's where the recruitment actually takes place. Those teams are composed of your lines that can think on their feet, never meet a stranger. They are your salesmen, and they love presenting their product service to the community. You simply can't develop a new club without those active, committed lions for those 2 sub-teams. However, the other 2 sub-teams are often overlooked or at least not completely appreciated. The lead team gets the word out that help or support is coming. They're the ones that put out flyers. They give news notices, and they establish appointments. Their pre-recruitment activities set the tone for the new support of the community. They are the ones to create a positive reception for the field team, and that is very important. Then the response team reminds future Lions of upcoming meetings and events. They are the ones that reassure new club members that yes, they really are providing services to their community. They are the ones that answer questions and find support when a new member is in need. In essence, they're the ones that keep the new club moving. So do you all need all 4 teams? Most definitely. And remember, some of your lines can and will fit in more than one sub-team. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Lion Nancy. You've done a beautiful job of explaining that team building. And there's just so many different characteristics and personality types within our association. And so this question is going to get us to think about what type of individuals should be invited to join one of the teams and help us develop clubs. What do you think is the most important characteristic of new club development team members? Well connected to the community, charismatic, organized, or knowledgeable? Go ahead and let's vote. We'll take about 15 or 20 seconds here, and you select all that you think apply. Which characteristics are important to developing new clubs and new communities, and select all that you think apply. If we go ahead and close that poll, as folks, most folks have voted,
it looks like you need almost everyone to have well-connected, charismatic, organized, and knowledgeable. So I think it's, the knowledgeable one really stands out, but the rest are all very important as well. So we'll move forward and reintroduce past District Governor Valerie, who is going to talk to us about conducting the site development research.
Thank you. I forgot to mention, I get so excited when I talk about new clubs. I forgot to mention that back in 2016, 2017, when our district was at 876 in membership, and we grew those new clubs over the last 4 years, we are now at over 1,100, back up to over 1,100 members. And I think back to where would we be if we hadn't formed those 8 new clubs and brought on those new members. We would be well below 876, I'm certainly sure, right? So the new clubs have given us a new focus, and we know that there's an opportunity to grow and expand. An analogy that I like to use is when I go out with new club development is we're like a tree, I call it. And I explain it to my cabinet and my GMT team. We're like a tree, and we have roots, and our roots, I guess, are our members that we already have. And if we're going to continue to grow that tree and to nourish, we have to feed it. And the feeding part, I guess, would be the new clubs and the new members that we bring into it. So in order for that tree to blossom and grow, our members, new members that we bring in, will certainly grow that tree into something spectacular. Step 3 now, conduct the site development research. And what this is all about is evaluating the needs of the community. So when I go out, I try to do the following. Like I said earlier, meet with the mayor in the community, the local businesses. If there's a radio station, again, I love that approach because it already makes me known in the community ahead of time when I'm going out. I try to meet with schools, teachers and that, because they're our youth leaders of tomorrow. Possible recruitment locations I look for to set up our first meeting, our organizational meeting. And what I look for is some type of hall. It could be a community hall. It could be a church. It could be what we have in Canada, our Legion. So different locations that we look for. Now I'm going to move into the community needs assessment. Our community needs assessment, where can it be found? It can be found on www.lionsclubs.org, and it's found on our search our club and community needs assessment, and it's a PDF file attached to it. Then some of the things that I do, some of the questions that are on the form that I look at is, what is the industry in the area? Are we in a rural area or is it an urban area? On the form is some things like, are there other groups there? Is there an AIM, which is Autism Involves Me? Is there an Heritage Society? Is there a women's center? Another thing that I look for that's on the form, is it missing a recreational facility, a playground, or a community center? What specific needs are there in the community at the time? And the last thing that I would look for is, what other organizations are providing programs? Are there a women's shelter? Are there other service organizations, a fire department? These are all people that are in the community that are already established and would make great and awesome Lions. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to do a quick poll now, and so we're going to ask you, who has done a new club community assessment. So yes, no, maybe. So we're going to give you about 15 to 20 seconds here and await your answers.
Take about another 10 or 15 seconds and the poll is closed. And let's see what the results are. Awesome, 31% of us have already participated in that new club community needs assessment. The other 64% have an opportunity to expand their knowledge and expand their leadership skills by reviewing the information that's available at lionsclubs.org and getting with their district governor team and beginning to do that new club community needs assessment. We're going to continue this series next week on June the 22nd at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time, that's Chicago time. And then we're at that point in time, we're going to talk about the next 3 steps. Now, when we finish reviewing just a little bit of information, we're going to open it up for questions tonight so that we can delve a little deeper and make sure that everyone understands the first 3 steps. But that step 4, that promoting new clubs, is so invaluable. And this is an opportunity for us to really think outside the box. You heard Lion Val talk about the radio stations and how valuable they were to getting the message out. But we've got local newspapers, we've got social media, we've got Facebook groups, we've got the Chamber of Commerce. And so as you're beginning to build out your plan of action in your idea plan, it's so important that we specifically decide how are we going to promote that new club and introduce Lions generically to the community. And then the next step, recruiting charter members. And you know, this is so important because without charter members, we're not going to have a new club. But some of that is canvassing in the community and talking with business people, talking with the chambers of commerce, talking with the city council, but also some of our best recruiters are all the Lions in our multiple district who may know someone or be related to someone in that community that can recommend that they join the Lions Club. And then when we finish talking about recruiting, we're going to talk about that most important informational session. That's the opportunity for us to share our rich history, our proud past, to share with them a vision of a better tomorrow in their community because of the service we're going to provide. It's an opportunity for us to sell the benefits of belonging to the world's largest service organization. That's what's on our calendar for next week. And I'm hoping that you'll join us. And the week after that, we've got the last 4 steps. Lion Rob, would you share those with us?
Yes, thanks very much, Pastor National Director Jerome. So the last 4 steps that will be covered on June the 29th are conducting organizational meetings. So we're going to be voting on the officers. The club members will be deciding on their service projects. And recruitment will continue up until the charter night. So once we reach that 20 members, the charter application will be submitted. We'll be gathering the required documents. We'll be continuing to recruit. The information will be submitted on MyLCI. And once the charter is approved by Lions Clubs International, the charter materials will be obtained. Charter night celebration will be planned with the sponsoring club assisting, and invitation of the dignitaries in the community, the local government officials, the surrounding Lions Clubs members, making sure that all the documentation is done properly, that all the new member certificates are filled out correctly, and that there is a wonderful induction ceremony for the charter members. Once this is all over, then we're going to continue to develop this club because these clubs are in the infant stage and they are not familiar with how our system works. what the dues are. And this has been a downfall sometimes of some clubs that they didn't know that they had to pay these membership dues. There's the Guiding Lion support. An important part of this is having an orientation session for this group almost as soon as they've had their first or second meeting, and to continue to work into the transition of power over this new club so that they can go from an infancy stage into full-fledged club after their second year. So moving forward, turn it back to Pastor National Director Jerome.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. And I can tell you, after listening to these two ladies who are new club consultants, I would be proud to host them in my district to help them, to let them help us to start new clubs. And I'm sure that many who are on the call tonight are also excited about what these two great lions have shared. And now we have a few questions that have been posted, and in the question box, we have a few hands that are up. Lion Kyle, who with the staff is going to be reading the questions for all of us to chip in and answer?
Hi, PhD Jerome. Yes, Christy on staff will be helping out with that.
Awesome, thank you.
Hi, PhD Jerome. We actually, we do have Lion Kevin Reedy who has a question. Lion Kevin, you are unmuted and you can go ahead.
Okay, good evening and thank you for the session this evening. What is a typical time frame for club development implementation, and specifically, how much time is needed to conduct the demographic research in the community that you are planning to start a club? Thank you.
Lion Kevin, that is a great question, and we're going to go to our two experts, Lion Valerie and Lion Nancy. Can you respond to Kevin's question?
Well, I'll be happy to. The pre-planning takes a little extra time because you don't know exactly where you're going to be able to find people. I would say that if you use a week to 10 days to get everyone notified that you're going to be in town and when you're going to be there, and to develop that interest, that would be a good idea to try to plan for that.
Very good, thank you. And Lion Val, what would you add to that?
I would agree with her absolutely. For me, it's usually a 2-week time frame. When I've finished one club, I'm actually got my sights on another one. So, for example, we just on Sunday got our 20 members for our cyber club, and now right off the bat, I'm actually working on another club, and hopefully with the intent of having an organizational meeting, if COVID lets us, to be in there within the next probably 2 weeks again, looking at another one. So it's always nice to have one done, and when one is completed, then get working and ready for the next one. Thank you.
Lion Valerie, may I ask a follow-up question to Kevin's question? And that is, we've seen these 10 steps. Now, a new club consultant comes into town for 3 to 5 days. What is done before you arrive? What is done while you're there? And what steps are completed by the Lions in the district after you've left?
For me, basically what we do, we work with that club on the community needs assessment and exactly what's needed in that community ahead of time. So I've got all the information from the Lions in that particular club or in that particular area that want to form a new club. I work with them. Then we go in and I'm in there for about, say, 3 days, 3 to 5 days actually. Most of the time for me personally, it's been 3 days. The very first day is meet with the radio station and the local Lions in the next community to us that want to sponsor this new club. And from there, we go out, meet with the town officials, is the most importantly, and government employees and schools, teachers, that sort of thing. Make our presence known. We're there for about 2.5 days. On our second day, we actually look at forming the organizational meeting for the third evening, and we open it up to the public. We've been very, very fortunate, I guess, in the 8 clubs that I've worked on, that by the time the third night is up, we actually have our club up and running. So it's very, very exciting. I love being out in the field. It gives me the opportunity to meet new Lions, to bring them into our Lions family. I'm a strong believer in what Lions do and what a difference that we make internationally and around the world. And I just love the fact that we can bring more people into our organization to make do more service and make the world a better place for everyone. So from there, once I leave that community, I'm always in contact with the new clubs. Even today, the 8 club I formed, I still follow up. I guess I'm like a mother in probably to a lot of them, but I like to stay in contact. I like to let them know that I'm here if you need me. I'm only a phone call away or whatever, but the local Lions, I try to get them to take over and take responsibility and work with that club. And again, if there's any questions or concerns, reach out to me. In today's world with social media, like, it's just so easy to stay connected. So thank you. I hope I've answered your question.
Perfect. You did a great job. Christy, we're going to go back to you for another question from the audience.
Absolutely, PhD Jerome. We have a Lion Brent Barisi. Lion Brent, you're unmuted.
Well, greetings from Multiple District 11 here in Michigan. Thank you to our presenters and our hosts. My question tonight is, has the GAT team determined an ideal population size to ensure the most success for our new club developments? And thank you.
Thank you, Lion Brent. The Global Action Team has not determined the best size, but let's go to Council Chair Nancy and get her opinion on what is the smallest community that should be considered for a Lions Club to be viable.
Well, I'm going to tell you, we can have a very active Lions Club in communities that are about 1,000 population, and then, of course, larger. But about 1,000 population will provide a lot of people that are interested in making that community a better place for their people, their neighbors. And you usually can find a special person that has a lot of influence in that community, and they can lead you to those lines that are ready to go to work.
And what would be the perfect size community that you'd like to go into, Lion Nancy?
The most, well, I prefer the smaller communities, 15, 20,000. I think that those present a lot of good possibilities, but don't give up on those smaller communities either.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. Going back to Christy and staff, we've got time for a few more questions before we have to end the hour.
Hi, PID Jerome. This is Karina. I have a question for the panelist. It's from Dan Montaigne, and he's been trying to get a club started in his community, but it seems like the leadership is resistant to wanting them or welcome a new club in their community. Specifically, they mention a Rotary Club is there. Do you have any ideas, any comments?
Can I jump in here, PID Jerome?
Absolutely.
My experience has been that we partner with whatever service club that is there. And they focus on certain things, and when we say where there's a need, there's a lion. We will pick up whatever need there is left in that community to help. I've been in many communities where the Rotary and the Kinsmen work together on major projects, and they're all there for the same reason that we are there. They're there to make their community a better place to live and for the service in their community. So for us to partner with other organizations, Rotary, Kinsmen, Oddfellows, you name it, we should be doing that. We're not there to run opposition to them. We're there to make our community a better place. So I think that no matter what, we should have a Lions Club there if there's another service club in that community. They can work as partners. Actually, I've seen where the Lions members are also part of the Rotary, or they're part of the Kinsmen, so that they can work back and forth.
May I say something about that?
Yes, ma'am.
I have been in quite a few communities where the Rotary Club has been resentful with that Lions have wanted to come in and put in a club. And one of my first objectives is to attend one of their Rotary meetings and let them know that we are not there to compete with them. We're there to support them. We would like to be a part of some of their activities when they need more help, and that we would like to invite them to be a part of ours. And you know, when you meet with them, the whole group, and you answer their questions and you visit with them, you rarely ever leave without them nodding that they're ready to support your coming into the community.
That is
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you.
Do you have one more, a time for one more?
We do. We'll take one more, and this will be the last one for the evening, but everything else that is typed in will be answered by staff afterwards. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, PID Jerome. There is just a question from Deborah Ellis, and they're asking, is there a recommended limit to charter members?
I can answer that. The answer is no. The bigger the club, the more service they can provide. Wouldn't it be great for us to have clubs of 100 and 200 members all serving in all 5 global areas and engaged in activities? And you can almost spin them off so they're each a branch of 25 or 30 focusing in one area, sort of like a conglomeration of specialty clubs. That's Jerome Thompson's opinion. I don't think a club can get too big as long as we have active service projects to keep people engaged. Lion Rob, Lion Nancy, Lion Valerie, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are exactly the same. You never can have too many people there.
For me,
that's my thoughts exactly too, is that the more hands there are, the lighter the work in the club, and the more service you can provide. You can expand out into a lot of service areas if you have a lot of members.
I agree totally. Sorry. I agree totally. With more, we can do more. And the more members we bring into and charter on a new club, the more projects that club can take on, the more differences that they can make into the community. And it's a win-win for everyone. So again, the minimum is 20, but I always shoot for more. With more, we do more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to thank staff. They've done such a wonderful job of working behind the scenes and producing the webinar tonight. We could not do it without them. The support that we get from our vice presidents, Vice President Doug, Vice President Brian, Vice President Patty, is invaluable. They have provided such a voice and a leadership of sharing with us. I'd also like to thank our guests tonight, Past District Governor Valerie, Council Chair Nancy. Your expertise on this subject has really enhanced what we were able to share tonight, and your personalities is just bubbling. I would love to have both of you with it. I could just hear you talk and share stories for hours on end. You've done a great, great job. Past District Governor Rob, you bring so much to the process that I always thought was a process, but you bring so much to the process of us putting these on And your energy is infectious, and we appreciate it so very much. And we cannot do it without the participants, each and every last one of you. And I do want you to go to lionsclubs.org and go to the virtual events center and register for next week's webinar if you have not. Those who register tonight will get a copy of this recording in just a few days, and an opportunity to register for the 22nd and the 29th. Next week, we will focus on steps 4, 5, and 6. And when we finish, we're all going to be equipped to serve our association by forming new clubs in new communities and expanding our footprint of service. Until next time, continue to stay safe, distance, wear your mask, and serve in new and creative ways. Good night.
And I know.
Good night.
Out of here.